It's Easter Sunday, and we're walking back from the shopping center. I guess it's called the Hillendale Shopping Center. Anyway, what I'm thinking about is I'm trying to remember what the last scene in Little Big Man is before we see Little Big Man in the old folks' home finishing up his interview with the interviewer that he's told his story to, right? I'm trying to remember what is the last thing that happens in the life he describes before we get to the last scene where he's going to part ways with the interviewer. I can't remember, but I think it may have been when he gave that money to Miss Pendrake from Wild Bill Hickok. That may have been the last scene, but anyway, what I want to say is that there's not a very cheery ending to that story, right? The guy has had this life that's been tragic, right? At one point he was getting ready to kill himself, and he's saying, life was so crazy, I was about ready to jump off this cliff, right? And so he doesn't have a very encouraging story. And so, I got the novel when I was out in Colorado. I got the novel Little Big Man in the library. And I was starting to read it. But I think on the back cover of the novel, there was a picture of the author. And I gotta say, no offense to that author, and I don't remember his name, but he looked like he was very upset, a very unhappy man in that picture. So I was thinking, this guy got this story published. He got the story made into a major motion picture, which is almost impossible, right? Okay? And yet, look at the picture. He's totally unhappy. So that was the main reason I could not read that book. The picture of the author, I said, wow, does he look upset and angry and everything else? I said, I don't want to read this book. I saw the movie. The book is okay, but I'm not going to criticize more, okay? But let me just say this. Had the book had the kind of scintillating writing I found in Norman Mailer's writing or Raymond Chandler's writing, these kind of writers, I might have kept on, but it was just, popular fiction. Good story, right? But if you've seen the movie already and liked the movie, like Rodney Dangerfield said in one of his movies, he said, I saw the movie, you're in and out in 2 hours, right? Right? Unless the book is really well written to your taste, you're not going to waste the time on the book. So anyway, I could not read that novel. What I want to say is that the picture of that writer, I'm saying, my God, I wanted to be a writer, right? I never got anything published. But I didn't imagine that if I had got something published, I would have looked like that. Had I gotten something published, I figure I would have been happy. Maybe I might not have had a big smile on my face, because that might have seemed like bragging that I got published, right? But I don't think I'd have looked like some of these people you see. The guy is published or the woman's published, and look at their face. They're not happy at all. So to conclude, well, I got to say, I never made it in that business at all. And I gave my entire life to it. I mean, all my spare time went into writing. I was always working on my writing at all times for about 40 years. I gave my absolute best to us, to it. I did. I absolutely gave my best at all times, trying to do my best at all times, and I didn't make it. Well, if making it made you look like some of these people that I saw who made it, I said, no wonder I didn't make it. Okay, so to conclude, Northrop Frye, who was a scholar that I was kind of a zealot follower of, okay, he had this to say about Shakespeare. Just like one popular image of Shakespeare, actually, I think there's two, but he was saying at one point in one of his books, he says, the popular image we have of Shakespeare in the only surviving portrait that we think is him. Here's what he says about it. He says, that is clearly an idiot. That's what he said about that image of Shakespeare. Now, I didn't agree. I didn't think Shakespeare in that. I'm familiar with two images of Shakespeare, and I'm not scholarly enough to identify them more precisely. But I have a bust of Shakespeare at home, and this guy is clearly not an idiot if this is Shakespeare. So I don't know where Frye got that, but anyway, I'm an old man now, and I found that when I got to old age, I discovered that I'd been lied to. I already knew I'd been cheated and lied to in certain ways. Lied about, falsely accused, and all this. I knew all that. I discovered that I'd been lied to in ways that were, wow, incredibly damning to the notion that this life we're in is anything like what we want to be in. At least in my case, I gotta say, by now, most of the time my thought is, I wish I'd never been born for this life. I wish I'd never been born for this. I can't say it's been as bad as some horrific experiences some people have gone through, but take the whole thing as a whole. It's been a waste of a human life to have this life. So that's all. It's not over yet, but it's getting toward the end, and well, I'm keeping my hopes up that a happy ending is still possible, but nothing. Happy ending still possible, in spite of all. Well, that's it for me for now. Here's my home presently. I gotta say, does this feel like a home? No. No, this is a place where I've been living. Call this home? No. I would not call that home. And I hope to find a home before I'm done. So I hope to get to my home. I'm looking to go home.